So what's the fix? Well, the fix is really you've got to have some direction and know where you're going. Because if not, you just become a passionate idiot, right? And just run around and don't really attract the types of clients that you want. So here I really took on a coach, and there were several in the room. Without their guidance, or someone like that, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. Within our first year, we sold enough product to turn over $80,000. Except that my wife was doing the bookkeeping, and she said we only have one problem with turning over $80,000. It's actually cost us $86,000 to do that. Lesson 2. Lesson 2 was about enrolment. So I knew we had a good product, but I didn't know how to enroll the right people around it, because I don't really know what I think I wanted. So I took on a coach. It cost me about $25,000 for the next year, which was a lot of income for someone who was only generating $80,000. It's a big step. But everything I've ever done has been big, and then worked out how to work it and do it later on. From there, the following year, from listening to people and learning to listen, to take on the professionals, we turned over 169 the second year, 339 the following year, and over 500 the fourth year. So now I don't work as hard, but the big lesson that I learned here was to enroll the right sort of people. So I needed to get creative and find out and write it out. Again, well, what is the ideal type of client? And when you're networking, it's pretty important to know who is your target market. Who are the types of people that you're chasing? Because there are 40 people here in the room. Half of the room is associated, I guess, with the bookkeeping industry, but half of them are from different ones. Do you know who your target market is? Because if it's small business, what is the definition of small business? If you go to the government website, it'll tell you 250 employees or less is small business. That's a pretty big scope. So I needed to define it. So I can tell you now that my ideal client has been in business for 5 years, is a male, 45 years of age. Right? I needed them to have been in business for 5 years because I needed them to have been and tried some other things. I needed them to have tried advertising and have some experience around that. I needed to have them do some PR, try writing blogs, and I've done all those things myself to work out that it's hard coming up with all of that and then concentrating on doing what I was doing. So once I wrote down all that, all of a sudden I started finding all of these types of people. And you notice that when you start smiling. If you start walking down the street, you smile, you notice how many people are smiling. You start frowning, you notice how many people frown. And all of a sudden I found, within a period of 3.5 years, just over 400 people to join the organisation that I was part of. So what's the fix? My ideal client was obviously too busy, and they're the types of clients that I needed. See, the people that are too busy are the ideal clients because they understand the importance of relationships. No one person gets to be successful on their own. They've all had teams of people that have helped them there do it. I'm here speaking today from associations that I met in somebody else's course. So again, how did I end up here today? Through Shirley, through Julie, and Susan. Be very clear about your message and be okay with backing yourself with looking for busy people. A lot of people find that looking for busy people might be just mass emailing or mass groups like this. For me, it began with relationships one-on-one. And this is my third and final lesson, and it's about serving. I'm going to tell you a story about what I did, and I've done it several times, but it was just yesterday. There was a gentleman who's been in the coaching industry now for about 5 years, a guy called Grant Herbert. I've known him and been a part of the chambers in the Campbelltown, MacArthur area for 2 years. We knew we liked one another and we knew we'd work together, we just didn't know how and the timing wasn't right. But we sat down for coffee, we worked out the same sort of markets we're in, and we had similar clients. So I made the offer to him yesterday, have you ever thought about breaking into Newcastle? And he said, yeah, I had. I've moved into Brisbane and Newcastle is a great area. I said, well, you come to a breakfast meeting for BNI and then I'll drive you around and introduce you to 8 fabulous people. So he knew how busy I was, and if I'm only working 6 hours a week, that was my working week. I tried disengagement, that's all I'm doing this week. So he knew how important it was. So each one of the people that I introduced him to also knew that I wouldn't take up their time longer than half an hour or 45 minutes unless I thought it was important. Every one of those connections was a great connection for Grant, and every one of those connections was a great connection for the people that I introduced him to. And 4 of the people have already sent me an email saying thank you. Right? Which basically just means that they get to do more of what they do together faster. My introduction to both of them was, I've known you for 3 years, and I explained how I met them and how I know them now. I know you for 3, 4 years, and that's how I know you. So I understand that there is going to be some honeymoon stage between you two, but please understand that I trust you both. That's why you're in here in the room. On the way home after a long day, because it started by me picking up Grant at 5:30 and dropping him off after we saw the last contact at 6, I got a phone call, and it was actually from one of his mentors. And the philosophy that I live by is give as gain, and it's in that order for a reason. You have to give in order to gain back. At about 7:05, after I dropped Grant off, I got a client, actually one of Grant's mentors, ring me with a purchase of around about $50,000 because of some of the things like that I'd done. In that lesson, a lot of people are confused. How could you give up a whole day? Right? Understand this. You can't keep taking from the forest if you don't keep planting trees. So I can't keep taking clients if I'm not prepared to get out there and make the introductions. In a talk I did for the financial planners about 2 weeks ago, one of them said, I know all that, just give me the bullet point forms on how to get more referrals. Straight and to the point. Relationships take time. You can't rush those things. It's not about your agenda, it's about theirs. So please understand that you are working to build their trust in you, not the other way around. So I love this particular slide. Time, I am one of the most controlling people that I know. Can't we do this in 30 minutes? No. It's about them. So I learned to ask questions about what was important to them. That was the first business that I set up, and I was talking to Peter outside earlier. The second business that I set up after understanding the key fundamentals was how did I learn what I was doing and build a business from nothing, and thank goodness my wife says that I did, in 4 years, to the point where I spend the majority of time with my family. Now that's not a money thing. That's more about what I want to do with my life now. Time is very limited, so I want to spend it with the people that mean the most to me. I learnt that you can have a business and you can duplicate it again and again and again. So what I did is put all of the intellectual property and put it up on a website, and then had people buy memberships from it. And so that really was the second business that came out of the first one, because people wanted to know, well, how did you do it? We all look for people in our lives that are inspirational or that have been there, done that. For me, that was it. And so I wanted to give back. There's a link there. I'm happy to share it with anyone. What I've done on this particular one is, this is the back end way. This is a video coaching session. So it's actually the blueprint that I used to build up a business. Now that, I'll share it with the girls later on. That particular mini videos register is just for tonight. If you, just out of courtesy, just wouldn't forward that on, just keep that for yourselves. But that's really what a program is. And even if you just took just that alone, that's how I built my organisation from naught to, it's just over 500 members this year. Following key principles, and I brought it here today. Everything that I know about referral marketing actually fitted onto one page. And it's a little thing that I've had this piece of paper for now 4 years. It's Randall's Referable Rambler. And it took me through exactly what I've just taken you through there, and the action steps necessary. Again, I'll share that with the girls as well. But I thought about the two choices that I could do, and I thought about the way that I learn. And I learn through stories. I don't learn through maps. So I brought both. I'm happy to share that with you. That's exactly how I've done it. That's the videos is to show you in case I'm not there. But I know that you've probably got some of your own lessons through that sharing. I'll recover them again. You've got to have passion in what you do, and you've got to get it out there. You've got to learn to enrol people in whatever your cause is. You've got to be clear about your message and learn to serve the purpose. And for me, it's about helping people create 100% of their business through referrals. Hope you enjoy the evening, and you're up for a fabulous speaker in Shirley Dalton next.